All right, so start off, I want to welcome you. This is the fourth Local Cash Machine live webinar, and tonight is going to be the final regular webinar. But at the end, I'm going to tell you about. It looks like I'm going to start doing webinars as part of a new package that I'm going to be offering, and it's going to be like a recurring webinar, either every Monday or every Wednesday night. And because you guys, got the original package that I released, you guys are all going to have access to that webinar every Monday night for this foreseeable future. And, it's going to be mainly be a question and answer webinar. So that's very cool. And I'll let you know about that later on. But anyway, I want to finish off with Module 5. And I think we ended Module 5 so far is we got to, what if nobody buys, right? That's where we were. For those of you that were here the other night, that's where we left off, right? No, Robert, I didn't see that. I didn't. I'll have to, if you can, just resend that to me, please. Okay, anyway, I want to welcome you guys. What we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about what if nobody buys. And like I said, maybe 20% or so of your sites, maybe even 30%, right off the bat, might not sell right away. And what you can do is all is not lost. You can still sell these sites. You can still make some money back on it. And the first thing that you can do is basically just offer it for a discount. Like, if you've done some of these marketing methods, like if you've sent out emails, if you've made little screen capture videos, if you've made contact with different business owners, and if you've ever got someone on the phone or exchanged some emails with them, but they just didn't buy, what you could do is you could go ahead and offer it for a discount. You could say, hey, all right, maybe that $197 setup fee was a bit too much for you. You're not sure what this website is going to do for you. What if I cut that in half, okay, and you can just pay me $97, and if you don't like it, if after a couple of months you're not seeing any results from it, you're not happy with it, I'll be happy to refund that $97 for you. But if you just give us a try, I know it can improve your business. And just by saying something like that, or writing in an email something to that nature, you can sometimes snag a customer, because people do like bargains. People absolutely love bargains. And if you were selling something to them, for $200, and then said to them, hey, I want to give you a deal. It's only for today, or it's only if you get back to me by tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, and offer that for half price, you'll be surprised you'll get that site sold. And granted, you're not going to make as much money, but over the course of a year, it's still going to make you $636. So, all is not lost. And you're hardly making any less. You're just giving away some of your setup fee. Does that make sense to everyone? Can you see why that works? Hey, I understand you wouldn't buy this at full price, but you were somewhat interested in it, right? You are interested in getting more new customers. Well, what if I can give this to you for half price? And, it's an incredible deal. And business owners, just like you and I, we like incredible deals. Yeah, exactly, Maggie. It does. It gets your foot in the door, and, you can wow that. I'm telling you, okay? When a business owner gets his hand on this site that's at the top of Google and it has his information on it, he isn't going to want to give it up, and he's going to be impressed. He's not going to want to give up, even if he only got a couple of leads, okay, over, say, the course of a few months or a half a year or whatever, okay? He doesn't want to give up those leads to another business. Once they own it, they really are going to own it. They're going to pay you month after month. So if you're just giving a discount up front, don't worry about it. You can even give it away for free. I don't recommend you give away, you want to give away for free as few sites as possible, but you can give us a site away for free. But if you are going to give it away for free, make sure that you kind of get something for it, either a testimonial or a referral. Okay, and the testimonial, it doesn't need to be a made up testimonial at all. It can be a testimonial about your character or your customer service, or just I had a good time dealing with Mark from Phoenix Websites. He he always answered the phone when I called, and my site was done when he said. I've been at the top of the search engines for the past 30 days. It's awesome, something like that. Yeah, you're right, Craig. You don't want to, and you don't want to discount always, because then you get known as the guy who gives discounts. You know, right? You could also do free, but then either a higher maintenance fee, or even if you're just doing free, straight up free setup with a $49 a month maintenance fee, you're still making like $500 a year, which if you set up 100 of those, you're making some really, really good money. And you can also, some certain types of businesses, they're easy to get referrals from. That's one of the reasons that I really like dealing with contractors, because I know that if I do a bang up good job for a roofer, he can refer me to his siding guys or his masonry guys, or his general contractors. So if someone is going to take it for free, say, okay, Mr. Business Owner, how about this? If you could just give me the names and phone numbers of maybe 5 of your friends who might own businesses, or 5 business associates in different, non-competing niches, would that work for you? And people will say, yeah, I'll write down 5 friends for a free website. Of course I will. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Really good idea. Giving away free websites, maybe not a top ranked website, but maybe a free 1-page site instead of 4 to 7 pages, something like that you can give away. And especially for a LinkedIn situation, that's funny you say that. I know. I don't know if you bought that. WSO that talks about doing that with videos, but I was going to start doing that with some websites. But that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Robert says, you could give away a month of hosting free per closed referral. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And that's something that I've done. Like, I do that with people. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing with it, B. You're absolutely right. Like, I'm going to be on LinkedIn, I'm going to be offering very small little websites for free to different businesses. Like, I've got myself in a couple of different groups on LinkedIn that are in a specific niche that I'm targeting. But you can do that. So, give that site away. Yeah, you might not have made your $200 right there, right off the bat, but you're still going to have a monthly fee that's going to be coming in every single month. And, hopefully you got a couple of different testimonials too. Hold on just one sec. I got a program that's slowing everything down. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. Hi, Gerald. I'm actually going to get that. We haven't even got to that. We're still up at that give the site away. A couple of people have asked that. They want to know what that sneaky way to sell a site is. And we'll get to that in just a second. And, if no one else buys it, like if you still can't, there's no reason that you couldn't give away the site. If you can't give away a site, okay, you aren't trying. Because it would be so easy to email, 10 business owners, okay, say, hey, I've got this site, it's number 3 on Google. You can absolutely have it for free if you just let me know, three three other business owners who might want to also get new customers in different niches. Okay, but you can also use that first site of yours as proof. Like you can use that as your proof on your website. Okay, this is something that you did. Yeah, it's number 1 or it's number 5 or number 7. It's on the first page, but it's something that you have as proof. So when you go to sell your next site, not only do you have that site that you're offering right now, okay, which would be, say in another city or in a different industry, but you can also say, just to reassure the client, the potential client, that you're good at what you do, you can say, well, this isn't the only site that I've done this for. I've also done this for this industry in this city. So you can use it as proof. And a final way, and you'd be surprised, when we start out, we're targeting cities with over 50,000 population, right? Everyone knows that. We're only targeting cities with over 50,000 population. But what you could do, okay, is you could go ahead and offer it to a business that is either in, like a lot of times there'll be a city named like Hartford. Hartford is in Connecticut, but there's also a bunch of other cities in this country in different states that have the exact same name. Like Miami, there's a couple of different cities that have Miami. So if you can't get your site sold in your original target market, you can check out, see if there's some other cities that are named that. Like there's a Worcester, Massachusetts, and then there's also Worcester, England, and then some other Worcesters in the United States. So you could go outside of that area, go into different states with the same city name. And you can also go outside, especially with contractors. Just because a contractor is, say, based in Worcester, okay, he also works around and travels to all those surrounding cities. So you could just expand your potential market. You could go ahead and get more leads, more prospects from some outlying towns. And when you do that, you should be able to sell or give the site away. And then this sneaky way to sell a site, and you are being a little bit tricky, okay? That is something that you do need to know before we talk about this that much. And, okay, yeah, let me stop right here. Before we go into this, hold on, let me just shut this down. Let me take any questions. Yeah, I got a couple questions. Hal, this is a last resort strategy. This is not a method that I'm saying. This isn't, you do understand that, right, Hal? Like, your main goal is to sell the site for $197. But if you can't get your site sold, these are some things that you can do as a last resort. Think of this as, say, like a parachute, right? Does everyone understand that? This is not our main selling strategy here. This is pull the ripcord, pull the parachute. Things have gone wrong. What can we do to, salvage something out of this? Yeah, Hal. This is not the main focus. We want to sell these sites at $197 and then $49 a month, so that we get, $700 and some dollars per year. But if that can't, okay, yeah. Okay, I believe you understand, right? Yeah. And Gerard, I'm sorry, you could barter. I've bartered on a couple occasions. I don't recommend you barter, like, for your first sale, though. I've got burnt, not in this situation, but I've had a couple of bartering experience not go so well. So I don't really recommend bartering to start with, but you could. You definitely could. No, Robert, we're going to get to the deal about being sneaky. I just wanted to make sure, there were a couple of questions up here. Just make sure, this is not our main strategy. Yeah, Craig, that's a good idea. This is not our main strategy. This is our, what if we can't sell it for our top dollar price? What can we do? And now everyone wants to know about what this sneaky strategy is. What this sneaky strategy? Thanks, Hal. Now this is kind of like a sneaky strategy. This method does work, but some people might feel it's not the most ethical thing to do because you're kind of telling a story right off the bat. But it plays on the mentality that people absolutely love a bargain. And I've only done this once. A student, especially back at the higher price point that I had, used this with incredible success. And you need to decide for yourself, but what this is you're telling a business owner, okay, we're doing the same thing. We're setting up a site, we're building it to get on the first page of Google. And then what we're doing is we're approaching business owners with an email or a letter or a phone call saying, hey, I got hired to build this site for one of your competitors last month. I was really backed up, and in the transition time between him ordering and the site getting ranked, I got the site up there, but he went out of business, or he's no longer doing business, something along those lines. But what it is I built this site for someone else, and he couldn't take it, or he didn't want it for someone. You don't want to use the didn't want it, because then it becomes like, well, if he didn't want it, I don't want it. If he didn't want it, I don't want it. But what we're doing is he couldn't get it because he had something misfortunate happen to him, and you can get it for this crazy low price of only $197 to input in your new information, and then $49 a month. And it works. It works very well. This one guy who was doing it way back, he got started with this in 2008 when I first got started building websites, and he just blew up with it. He got to the point where he doesn't even build a website on the first page of Google anymore. Like, he'll just get the domain name, sit on the domain name for a month or two, and then approach all the businesses and say, hey, I was supposed to build this website for one of your competitors, another roofer or another auto repair shop in town, and unfortunately he went out of business, or he moved out of town, something along those lines. And I can give it to you. It was going to cost him $800, but you can have it for just $197 setup, and then just $49 a month. And it does work. It really does work. But you are leading in with a little bit of dishonesty. There's a way that you could tweak that so that you don't have any ethical problem at all with it. Like, personally, I've only used it one time. Okay, I've only used it one time, and it did work very well. It did work very well, but I wanted you guys to know, like, I don't really teach that so much, but it really can work well, especially if you can get an email address for someone. It's a little white lie, and it's not harming the business. So, like I said, in my mind, I don't see anything wrong with it. But it's just something that it's a way for you to sell, and you can combine it. When I was very younger, when I was in my 20s, I used to work for a place called Anchor Meat and Seafood. And what they were was a frozen meat and seafood company that you used to drive around with a little pickup truck with a big cooler in the back filled with dry ice and meat. And the pitch that they taught, and that worked very well for the people that did well with it, was that we delivered restaurant quality food, and I was supposed to make a delivery down to whatever a restaurant is in town. And you say, they weren't there to accept the delivery, and now I was late getting there, so you can have this meat at a drastically discounted price. And the sales tactic does work because people really do. They think that they're getting a huge advantage. They think they're getting a great deal. And in the end, people do like, helping other people, because, especially with the meat and seafood, but it does pertain to the website because, we've built this site, we were supposed to give it to this business, but it just didn't happen. Yeah, Antonia, you could definitely do something like that. Yeah, right. Paul says it very well. I developed this site for another business that was not able to take advantage of it. Yeah, that's a very good way to say it. And, in some ways it's the truth because when we're building these sites, we're expecting, I mean, I know when I build a site, I expect every auto repair shop in the Worcester area to want this. This is a site that's on the first page of Google. They're on page 10. Why wouldn't they want this site, right? Why wouldn't they? So you can definitely, you can probably use that for most people without feeling bad about it at all. I just didn't want to go into it too much, and I didn't put it into the main training program too much because I didn't want to. I've never sold. A couple of people have asked this. Could you sell these sites on Flippa? Yeah, I'm sure you could, and it might be worth a try. But you want to get into, a very mass market, like trying to think, like a hair salon, just because there's so many hair salons. You would want to do it for businesses that there are a ton of businesses for, like a pizza place, Chinese restaurant. Although Chinese restaurant, I've had a very hard time selling to Chinese restaurant owners. Um, Very hard time. Don't try anymore. I don't, but that doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't. Yeah, so those are our ways to sell our sites. Let's go ahead and recap because this was module 5 and there was a lot. I mean, a lot here. Okay. Everyone understands how we're going to market these sites, right? We're going to start maybe with email. Or the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and collect all our leads, right? And we're going to try to market these sites through email, okay? We're going to try to market them through direct mail and postcard. Like, email is going to cost you nothing. It's going to cost you nothing to go ahead and email all kinds of, business owners in your target market there, okay? And then when we start getting into direct mail or postcards, all right, it's going to start costing us a little bit of money, but, it does work. It definitely does work. And, I would spend $100 to make $700 all day long. I'd spend $200 to make $700 all day long. So if it costs me $100 to market a site through direct mail, I have no problem at all paying that to market that site. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hope that makes sense to everyone. Just like, if you can't build these sites, make sure that you either hire someone on Fiverr or go through the training videos again and again, especially that last webinar where I installed WordPress and I set up WordPress. So many people have told me that they've never built a site before and they were able to build a site just by watching and rewinding that video. So, don't let things hold you back. Definitely don't let things hold you back. But I got no problem spending $100. Absolutely no problem spending $100. All right. And you can even, for hair salons, maybe pizza places, you could go out there and drop off a postcard or a flyer or a sales letter. Hey, John, real good to see you. We're also going to, if we need to, and like I say, I hate this method, but if we need to, we'll pick up the phone. We can hire someone, though, to go call someone. We don't need to necessarily do it. Once again, I'll pay someone, $20 to go get me a couple of good leads of people that are interested in maybe buying our site. And remember, we're going to sell it, $197. $49 a month, all right? If we can't sell it, we'll just go ahead and, say that if we just tried email marketing, go ahead, invest $50 in a postcard mailing. Do something else. Maybe pick up the phone or pay someone $20 or maybe drive around to all the, hair salons, obviously if you built a hair salon site. But you have an asset. If you have that site that's ranked on that first page, you have an asset that is worth something to someone. Okay, so make sure that you've gone ahead and done everything available to go ahead and get that sold. And you just need to really, Put at least one of these strategies into action. If that doesn't work, move on to the next strategy. If that doesn't work, move on to the next. You're not going to hit a home run every time right out of the gate. But I promise you, 70 to 80% of these sites, you're going to get sold at full price without any problem. Especially if you choose the right. I've already had a couple of people. Let me just talk about choosing the right market, okay? We got to make sure that we're not going after those crummy businesses. Crummy businesses are like a handyman, okay? A handyman is a crummy business because they're usually not capitalized. I know this from experience, and you guys wouldn't know this more than likely, but I started building handyman sites, and I got a whole bunch of handyman sites ranked to the top of Google, and there were plenty of businesses to choose from it, but I had a heck of a time because the handymen didn't have a lot of money. Like, generally, they weren't, they were some sort of tradesman, but they might have used to have been a roofer, but they could do a little bit of stuff good enough. And I found that handymen weren't capitalized good. I also found, like, I built a couple of jewelry stores, okay, for jewelry sites. I did some for glass repair. Like, I found glass repair to be a horrible industry. Absolutely horrible. I think the main reason for that is a lot of their business just comes through, like, insurance claim. Like, someone calls up their insurance agent and says, I busted my windshield, and they go, okay, call this place. So I'm not sure if that's why, but go for those high dollar, go for those businesses that you see advertising somewhere else too. Like, look in your yellow pages that you have at home. If you have a yellow page, open that up. This is assuming, and I know so many of you, especially with all the people that are on tonight, I know you're already beyond choosing your niche market, but all I'm saying is, so long as you choose that right niche, okay, and choose a big enough city with enough competitors, you're going to get that sucker sold. You really are. 70, 80% of the time without any problem. And, if you can't get it sold with that first effort, whatever you use, like if you use email, move on to postcards. If you started with postcards, didn't get a sale, go ahead and mail another set of postcards or email again. Don't give up. I usually use a rule of 3, okay? And a lot of, people that are much better in sales than me will say a rule of 7. But I know how impatient this internet age is. And so I usually will use a 3. If I can't get 3, or if I've emailed 30 or 50 businesses 3 times and I still haven't got a sale, I'll move on to, using a postcard. And then I'll move on after I've done that 3 times. I found, though, 3 times was a pretty good number, especially when doing the postcards, that it worked pretty good. But, what you want to do now is get that first site sold, okay? And what we're going to do right now, we'll take some questions about this last part here, and let me know what you think. People are also throwing out some ideas, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these questions and different ideas out here, and I'm going to go ahead and announce some of those ideas because some of them are really good. Yeah, Brittany, that's absolutely true, especially for you, Brittany. We have a student, Brittany. She has a bunch of sites, and she's actually delivering leads to a particular one business, and she has this site already generating leads, and she's having a hard time getting it sold. And she just says, the first 2 times they might ignore you. Yeah, they might ignore you, but that 3rd time, they might say, hey, you know what? Especially when you're emailing or postcard or even calling them, maybe those first 2 times, they didn't have time. Maybe the first postcard that the guy got, he was on his way out the door on vacation, okay? And you could have had a postcard saying, I'm giving away $100 bills, and he might not have responded to it. And then that second time he goes, oh, I kind of remember this. This kind of looks familiar. But then, the weekend comes and he forgets about it. And then that 3rd time he sees your postcard again. And he says, well, maybe this guy's for real. He really wants me to, get more customers or get this, get these 15 leads a week or get this top-ranked site. Maybe I'll give him a call this time. And don't just give up after one time. You know, the guys that say flat out no, Brittany, you use like we were talking about the other night. Okay, Mr. Business Owner, looks like you've told me no for the last time. I'll just go ahead and give these leads to one of your competitors. And you could even name that competitor. Look in the yellow pages. Who's the biggest, widget seller if you're selling widget site? Who's the biggest competitor there? Say, you know what? I understand you're not interested in it. You're a smaller company. I'll just go ahead and give this website to the big giant. And you can make it sound like, hey, I was trying to help the little guy. I'm a small business owner just like you. I was going to give you this website. That's why I gave you first crack at it. I guess I'm going to just have to go give it to, that number one roofer. And the takeaway, it's a takeaway. It definitely can work. But don't give up on one time. Well, Chris, Chris is writing in. He's like, ouch, I just did my first site on glass repair. I wish you had told us this before. Can you make a more complete list and post it on the site of what not to attack? I kind of have. From the beginning, I say go with a business that's either a high dollar service, which glass repair doesn't fall into, or B, a repeat type of business, which once again glass repair doesn't go into.